In its American counterpart, we find childish pro-Star Wars advertisements that promote the puerile space-age technological dream of lasers, protective screens, and push-button annihilation. Their presence is also discernible in Israel's atomic progress, at the heart of which lies a base Old Testament hate and loathing towards the enemies of the Zionist cause. But most of all, they are visible in the governing bodies of the White House, whose policies and politics are determined, to be precise, are determined by a consummationist interpretation of St. John's testimony of the apocalypse. Armaments of obliteration in all their forms have become symbols or idols of a rational world, with which man has begun to worship bodies of unlimited power. The confusion and hypocrisy that surrounds the potential employment of these weapons only broadens the irrationality of the human psyche. For it should be noted that the image of the enemy remains unalterable. Did you hear me? Banners of the free West are piously flown, under which crusades against, and I quote Mr. Ronald Reagan, godless monsters of an evil empire are undertaken. Similarly, any attempt at imperialist intervention will be met with a, quote, Mr. Gorbachev, a glorious and crushing strike. A glorious and crushing strike. The seeds of natural regeneration have begun to germinate visibly in the feverish pitch of human activity within the various superpowers as they prepare for the climax of their existence. You know, astonishingly enough, however, in the midst of all this madness, all still claim to be operating in the name of freedom. Now, whether this is collective or individual is irrelevant. Somewhere there is truth in their assumptions, for they are most certainly moving towards a liberation of one kind, although I suspect it is probably far removed from the written political and ideological creeds. Should civilization suddenly bear a collective awareness of the unconscious mind, then I have no doubt that it would be uniquely horrified at the kind of liberation it has actually initiated. The prevailing idealism at this moment in time is most definitely unconscious as opposed to conscious. This for me is possibly the most unacceptable aspect of it all. The reluctance of humanity to face the state of its collective unconscious has been made apparent at two specific times in the last 8 years of my career with Killing Joke. In both the Falklands War and more especially the American bombing of Tripoli, I noticed a sudden surge of interest in both my activities and studies. People were ringing me up night and day. It appeared to me, you know what I thought? It appeared to me as though Red Alert was the unification point of humanity. Primal fear appears to stimulate the conscious mind's awareness as to the workings of its unconscious. The rational mind at this point becomes confused at its discoveries which resemble a perverse fascination with the subject of dread. In every case of a person successfully establishing communication with me at the 2 times stated, the only question their trembling voices wanted an answer to was, is it going to happen? The adrenaline induced by fear manifests the focal point of worship in the conscious mind. Naturally, as soon as the assault on the conscious mind from the external world subsides, the link with the unconscious is broken, and in the case of Tripoli, the entities or primal thought forms that exist there return to being superficially dormant. But now we have learnt that a series of associated oral and visual images is all it requires to awaken such entities at will. If I had to condense the foremost aim of my musical endeavours over the last 8 years into one paragraph, I would say that it has been to create a concrete vision of the future by suggesting a spiralling recession of time. The regression of every aspect of existence to its original condition of primal substance. The term killing joke amplifies the idea of the laughter that dispels the ultimate fear of returning to our base origin. Nevertheless, we still have to learn that the climax of an age is unalterable. The changes we see before us must be recognised as natural growth, insofar as we can perceive nature or evolution to be. Therefore, no matter how we feel about the severity of such proliferation, we cannot alter its direction. Therefore, one is forced to accept that all analytical breakdowns of developments are obsolete. Have a look at it. Imagine the shipyards blaze, vibrant arsenals wait their turn, idols of rational worlds to worship power, to worship strength, great crowds excited by riot, pleasure and work, insane crusades, destructive gestures of the freedom bringers, and all the bells shall toll as holy banners fly, and all will talk of freedom. Let rage and hate of races run from Adam down. The magic of our science shines brighter than 1,000 suns. Liberty in new dimensions, ruthless and spectacular. Obliteration shall be poetry of golden dawns.